Congratulations. You found the Twin Cities Hit Show.
Very well. Where do I begin?
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
You're lucky to be here.
Thank you, sir.
Reach for this one.
And now, a real hit show.
What the hell's going on out there?
Live from the Twin Cities.
Excuse me, what the hell's going on out here?
Well, Nook's scared because his eyelids are jammed in his old man's hair. We need a live, was it a live rooster? We need a live rooster to take the curse off Jose's glove, and nobody seems to know what to get Millie or Jimmy for their wedding present.
It's the Twin Cities Hit Show.
You want me to run you? I'll run you.
Well, you want me to call you a cocksucker?
Go ahead, try.
You want me to
try it. Call me a cocksucker. Call me a cocksucker and you're out.
Pretty please,
call me a cocksucker and you're out of here.
Cocksucker. You're a cocksucker.
Out of here.
Shit.
Let's get this hit show started.
Yeah, that's why they call it America's pastime.
I'm not calling you any names. I don't
You
want to get
try it?
ejected.
You call me a cocksucker and I'll throw you out of here. It's from Bull Durham.
Yeah. Hey, Rusty.
Yes?
You're
Bull
a really
Durham.
nice person.
Do you like Bull Durham?
I did like Bull Durham.
Back when Kevin Costner was Kevin Motherfucking Costner.
And Susan Sarandon, she was on my laminated short list. I was like, I'll even sleep with Susan. She was on, both my husband and I had Susan Sarandon on our laminated
short list.
Well, it's a Friends reference.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever watched the television
No,
show
I actually
Friends.
never watched Friends.
Well, the first 4 seasons were excellent. Let me
Yes,
just say
they
that.
certainly were. First time I met Susan Sarandon, my first impression was, oh my gosh, you're short.
Oh, she's super short?
I did not know that.
Did you know she's a ping pong aficionado? She loves a ping pong.
She's got a business investment in that
Yes,
kind
she
of a
does.
thing.
And
Really?
Judah Friedlander is a ping pong crazy person, and told me a story about hanging out with her and playing ping pong. And I guess she was hitting on like the ping pong, like the big wigs of ping pong.
Good Lord.
First of all, that's an
That
absurd
takes-
statement.
yeah, yeah.
That takes what does that take?
Balls.
Come on. All right.
Hey, Jackie Kashian is with us.
Kashian. You can do it. It's all right. You can ethnic it up.
See, when Chuck said we were booking somebody, I thought he said Casey Kasem, and I was
Casey
like, oh.
Kasem.
That
Top
would have
40,
been cool.
you guys.
That would have been cool.
I put in the Bull Durham because last night, and you're from Minnesota, so you know all about the Twins. You know the starting roster, the ERAs, and
Oh,
the
yeah. She's
RBIs.
Sure, the A
Sick with
team, the A level ball guys.
Yeah.
Sure, it's
Yeah.
no. I don't know. I barely know the names of the teams, but I'm happy for you. I hope it's all working out.
Your brother kind of knows you have.
Yeah, I have 3 siblings who live here, and my brother Phil's a big baseball guy, and so he loves the Twins, and he's psyched that they're winning.
Yeah, it is it's unexpected that the Twins are having a good season. So, real quick, for people who are curious, I mean, we've won 2 World Series, I'll have you know.
Yeah.
I will
Really?
have you know.
You're
The
getting a little
Twins,
braggy here.
87 and 91.
Yeah.
Anyway, Brian Dozier was, he's one of the best second basemen in the league, but he was getting dissed because we're just the lowly Minnesota, we're not LA, we're not New York, we're not the big glamour town. So he didn't officially make the first cut for the All-Star, and then the voter, because it's a nationwide vote, didn't make that cut, but then someone got injured. So what's the Story of Eve? No, what's the Betty Davis movie where the stand-in takes over? All About Eve.
All about Eve, yeah.
He became Eve.
Excellent.
And so he got to play.
What I like about it, whenever there's like, we're winning, nobody expected it. I was like, oh, you guys didn't throw a giant bag of money at something? And you're like, they just turned out they're really good baseball players. It's not a hobby, it turns out. They're professional
Yeah.
players.
The biggest bag of money we threw was at our pitcher, and he ended up being suspended.
Yeah.
Hey-oh, high five.
What did he do?
He
Did he hit
somehow,
somebody? Did he
doping
do
or
drugs?
something.
somehow accidentally did these magical enhancing drugs. He had no
Big
idea.
deal.
All right.
Someone put it in his sippy cup, and
The adult sippy cup.
yeah. So anyway, last night, here's what happened when our Brian Dozier got up to bat. Listen to this.
Behind the plate. This is Dozier. And he flies one into center. Well hit back. On the track. It is gone for a home run for Dozier.
Right Cinderella story
Nice.
for Brian Dozier.
Yeah.
He makes it to the All-Star game. His first at bat. It's a home run.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
Yeah, so the fun just gets getting more fun. It gets funner. Here's what he had to say about it.
Here with Brian Dozier, who came into this game late and added a home run for the American League. You were in the Derby a year ago, but what did that home run feel like tonight?
Just a lot of different emotions, all good ones. And, the way everything transpired last week or whatever, finally getting here. And all in all, home run or not, man, these past few days have been so much fun. I can't express enough how much fun I've been having, and go out with a good note, home field advantage, and take a W. That's always good.
That is always good.
A lot of different emotions, all of them good.
All of them good.
Yeah.
Here's my question about this guy: is he a monster? Like, is he clearly done a lot of steroids as well?
No, not really. No, to look at him, actually, he doesn't have the giant square jaw and all that stuff. What he does have that is very impressive is fantastic hair. He can,
Hair. He's got a good head of hair.
Yeah, he
All
can
right.
wear a helmet, all the afternoon, and then take it off, and bam, it
That's
flies
what I
into
noticed
place.
about him too. It's funny you say that. It's just uncanny.
That's
Great hair.
weird. That's awesome. Well, good for him. I don't know that it affects the game.
No.
It might.
No, it does. It does.
It affects the baseball card. Sure. Everybody wants that card.
So anyway, he did well, and it's been great.
How are the Brewers doing?
Yeah, not as good. You grew up in Milwaukee.
I did.
How long were you down there before you saw the light?
Well, everybody, as my father likes to say, because I'm the youngest of six, he's just like, because we were all like, well, we got to get out of here. And he said, and he had joined the Marines to get out. He said, you don't have to. You can just leave. You don't need to actually join the service. You can just get out, and you can find a different job shoveling sand for a living for $2.50 an hour, and you can and it'll be fine. So when I was 18, I went to college in Madison.
So
was
did
good.
I.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
University of Wisconsin?
Oh God.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh,
nice
that
work.
town, oh, yeah. I loved it.
So did I. I was there forever. 5 years. Graduated with a poli-sci degree. How about you?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
English and Communication Arts, Creative Writing and Film Theory.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. See how that
I had a
happens?
creative writing class with a woman named Lori Moore. Did you ever have Lori Moore?
I did not.
She was. It was the only creative writing class I got into. Oh, that's it.
Yep.
I tried out for the band.
It's stock music for Rusty. Don't worry.
Oh,
He's
it's-
very proud of
It's
Madison.
not true, but I am very
See my
proud of
hat?
it.
You see my hat is it's Mike LeCrone signed
Oh,
it.
yeah. He was my era.
Yeah. Well, Mike LeCrone is the band director and has always been.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I was psyched to get his signature on my University of Wisconsin marching band hat.
When I went there, the football team sucked. I think they won 3 games my sophomore year, and still 80,000 people would go to the game.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
yeah. I don't think anyone's going for the football. I think
But now they
people-
do. They go for both. But yeah, now the team's been good.
Right.
Now they
It's,
give tickets for that. Is what they're saying. No drinking.
I mean, I went to college in the 80s, so it was the drinking age was 18 when I went there.
Yeah, me
so
too.
it was just a flood of alcoholism.
Yeah.
It was just
A flood
just
of alcoholism.
we just and I never went to a game. I wanted to be in the marching band, tried out for the marching band. My brother Russ, he was like, I got you a job instead.
I got you a job.
And I was like, he's like, you want to make money, you want to lose money? And I was like, how am I going to lose money if I don't? He was like, by not taking the job. And so I sold knockoff Bucky Badger stuff outside the
Gosh.
seconds and irregulars.
Rusty still has some of those. They're all broken.
And they're like fucking Bucky T-shirts and Wisconsin with Bucky
Oh.
relieving himself on a
Oh,
tree.
I do have those shirts, actually.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
We used to sell a hat that was actually a jock strap, and it said Wisconsin athletic supporter. Good writing, you guys.
get it. I
Good
get it.
writing.
Was Art the window washer around when you were there?
That sounds familiar.
There were shirts that said, what is art? Art is a window washer.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and he was just this homeless guy.
Who would wash windows?
Yeah.
Well, at least he was gainfully employed. Whatever.
I don't know if he got a cut of the T-shirt money. Quick story about my creative writing. My senior year, worst class ever, most disturbing moment of college. This guy, this older John Hughesman type guy, very sour-looking face, hardly said anything during the class. And then, here we are getting ready for spring, getting ready to graduate, and he finally, I think it was the last day of class, he finally goes, I just want you all to know that I am dying. And you, by far, were the worst class I've ever taught.
That's the T-shirt. Wow. No pressure. No pressure. Lori Moore, when the first day of class, she said, you guys, the only rule of this class, you can write about anything but suicide. You can't do it. I worry about you at night. And super hacky. And especially when you write the suicide note and then it trails off at the bottom like you're 13. You're killing me, is what I'm saying. You cannot, no suicide. No suicide. And I have one story that I wrote from that class, and I think I allude to suicide, and in the margin she wrote, no suicide! Exclamation point.
A.
Can't even allude to it.
A minus.
Yeah, exactly. It's beautiful. In other news, stop talking about it. Go see somebody.
I wrote a short story about a guy who was struggling to pay his own way through college and was giving plasma for money. And then,
wait, where'd you get that kind of
based
information?
on reality,
Yeah. Really?
well, mine just needed pizza and beer money. But then it's like, can I give more blood? And he goes, you really need some money? Here, come downstairs and let's talk. And then he goes, the story became he'd give him $500 for his hand. And then he kept going back. So at the end of the story, he's at graduation, like in a wheelchair with no limbs,
no parts. He's just a doorstop.
Yeah,
That sadly sounds a little appealing to me right now. Where
it's that close to suicide? Not quite a suicide
right.
story.
You're just like, I take it you're broke, is what should have been written in the margins. And
I tried to do it in a Twilight Zone-y way or whatever. Anyway, evidently I killed my professor. So
well,
way to go.
He was already dying.
I think that's a great way to end. At my funeral, I'd like someone to get up and say, "You people did this to him."
There's a young comic out of L.A. and he's really sick. He's really sick. His name's Jesse Case, and he's 28 years old. And he has colon cancer, and he's doing a podcast. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he do a podcast?
Yeah.
And it's Jesse versus cancer. I think it's what it's called. And but he just tweeted yesterday. He said, if this cancer kills me, for $10,000, I will be buried next to the person of your choice with a gravestone that says "I'm with stupid." And I was like, "Oh my God, I wish I had." I hope you don't die. So,
what's he going to do with the $10,000 when he's dead, though? Where does the money go?
Hopefully, I mean, the thing is don't pay your medical bills with it. That sounds like the dumbest idea ever.
Oh God, yeah.
That gets to go with you.
Yeah.
I wonder what I would do if I knew that, there's no chance, you've got like a couple of months left, if I would just be so free to tell everyone something I've always meant to tell you. You stupid son of a bitch!
Right.
Why are you looking right at me?
Why
that hurts. That hurts, man. Right here.
I don't. Well,
you can tell me that. You don't need to die.
I think I would travel the world and bring my family. That's what I would
Eat,
do.
pray, love. That's what you would do.
That's what I would do. When you were at school, did you know you were going to be a comic?
Yeah, because that's where I started.
Whoa, sorry, cue the band. Jesus.
What's going on, man? Every time you ask me a question, you then do a soundbite that then makes it impossible for me to answer the question.
So, what was it like at school?
So,
Alrighty then, thank you.
you guys didn't need me. I did not need to wake up for this.
Jackie Kashian on abortion go.
You were doing funny stuff at school?
Oh, I started doing stand-up in Madison and wanted to quit school and was not allowed by my sister, who is the boss of me. It turns out. She was like,
Wow.
you should get your degree and then do stand-up comedy. And then, so I got my degree, and then she's like, you should get a really good job and then do stand-up comedy. And I'm like, stop talking. And because when I started doing stand-up, I was 19, and it was like heroin. So I never. I did
so
it.
you were making money doing that then,
No.
weren't you? Oh no,
no,
it
it
was
was
just
$10 a week.
Yeah, okay.
$10 a week. I did 7 sets a week, and for 8 months, and then the club burned down.
Where was the
And then-
club? Which club in
It was
Madison?
in State Street underneath a Coke front called the State Street Infirmary,
Oh, okay.
and it was right.
Coke front.
Yeah, it was just a pool hall and Coke front. That then underneath it was a State Street Infirmary. It was owned by Bill Kinnison, Sam Kinnison's brother.
Oh,
Yeah,
Huh.
and the guy who owns most of the street now is a Greek guy. He owns the building that the new comedy club is in, and his daughters run it, actually, the State Street Comedy Club. And so he's been around comedy for 30 years.
Yeah, I hear great things about that place. Everyone loves that.
It's a pretty great club. I've
Yeah.
only done it once. I'm going back in December, so it should be fun.
Yeah.
It's no Acme.
It
Yeah.
is not. Nothing is.
Yeah.
But it's weirdly enough parallel to Acme because they're both family run.
Yeah.
But the State Street Comedy Club is Greek family, and the Acme
Louis.
Comedy Company is Chinese family, and both of them interested in you getting dinner. Very interested in feeding you. They want to make sure you have enough food and beverages, and they're super welcoming and super helpful and stuff. But,
That's nice.
But the Greeks are a little more hands-on. The Chinese are like, If you need food, you get food. And then they give you a menu, and then they get the hell out of your way. The Greeks are hovering. They're hovering and going, did you try it? What did you like? Did you want some little more? And you're like, stop talking. So, I don't know why. That's the third time I've said that.
No, that's like,
I kind of want to. I'm in like hermit mode. I don't want people talking to me.
Yeah.
it's like here's your sign. It's your new catchphrase.
It's my new catch. Finally.
Do you have a catchphrase?
I don't have a catchphrase.
You do
I say,
now.
here's the thing a lot, but that's usually a sign that the joke is new. Somebody said, you said here's the thing about 26 times in your set. And I said, yeah, I was working on a lot of new material where I don't know where the punchlines. I know that things are funny, but I don't know where the punchlines are. So I'm like, here's the thing, here's the thing, here's the other thing, here's the other thing. And so I'm just like, here's another part of the joke, and then it, because I write jokes, I write like 6-minute jokes, and they eventually whittle down to about 3:05, for radio play. But,
3:05.
yeah.
What inspires you?
Well, I do a lot of family stuff because I got a lot of siblings, and my parents are out of their minds and hilarious.
And they're okay with this, or do they get upset?
My dad has always said, "Well, as long as it gets you work, it's fine." I have one joke that he does not like, and it's on my new album.
Is it the pedophile joke?
It is not. It's the sexy pants joke.
Oh.
He was wearing an outfit that he insisted on then showing me the last time I went home. He was like, "This is not. This is what you thought. This is not what you thought. I was not wearing that outfit. I don't own any cut-off shorts." And I was like, "It was pretty creepy, Dad," because it was 8:30 in the morning, and he was wearing like what I thought was like Wisconsin chic, like a denim dress shirt that was cut off and a pair of cut off denim shorts. And I was like, the hell, where have you been with that outfit? And he was like, I was fishing. And I said, for men? and you would think a man that has slept with every woman available, whether married or not, for the last 70 years since he was 8, would not be offended at all at the illusion of homosexuality.
A little secure in his manhood.
Yeah. You would be wrong. You would be wrong.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to hear it.
He's old school Milwaukee is what that is.
He's like, you don't have to say that. And I was like, well, I'm saying it, Dad, because that's a really funny joke. And he's like, well, I don't own that out. There should be a disclaimer.
You don't have to say that, but I get to say that.
I have to say it. I actually do, because it's a great joke. And so,
And with you say there's a total of 5 kids then?
6.
6
I'm the
kids.
youngest of 6. Yeah.
Ooh, the youngest. How does that work then? There's always
I have
what?
4 boys.
The oldest is always some sort of personality, and the youngest is always some. So they say.
My oldest brother is an evangelist. My second oldest brother.
Jesus Christ!
I know it. I know it. Boom. And then and then everybody sells stuff because my father's a salesman. He's raised us all to.
He's selling his
sells
machismo.
aluminum siding, toupees, everything. My father has sold
toupees.
Yeah, when he used to sell toupees, my father has a full head of hair. He would comb his hair like a toupee and then pretend to adjust it. He'd be like, "You should get one of these. Look at that. That's not going anywhere."
That's fantastic.
Because he's kind of a dick. I love him mostly so that nobody else has to.
Yeah.
And he's my dad.
Is that illegal? I guess I don't know.
It's
wonderful.
There's a fine line. There's a fine line between.
Comb his hair like a toupee.
This ain't going anywhere.
The joke part is I'm like, it's good that he doesn't sell wooden legs, and then just dance around and go, oh, look at these. These are great.
Yeah.
So then you're the oldest is an evangelist. Wow.
Yep, in
Did
Tucson, a church of Tucson.
Was it? Didn't see that coming, or did you guys always know? Oh,
Well, we were raised in a perfectly nice church, the Armenian church. It's all in Armenian. That's the good news about it, because you can believe whatever you want, because you don't. It's in Armenian. The premise of the Armenian church, and I go when I'm home. That's when I go to church. I don't know when you guys go to church, but I go when I'm in Milwaukee.
I go when you're home too.
That's awesome. And so I'm in. It's just it's a bunch of Armenians. It's an Armenian, and so the premise seems to be be like the nice man in the picture, and then go get your dad some coffee. I mean, there's a lot of step and fetch it is what if you are a girl child in the Armenian church, but it's also pretty mellow. I mean, it's not super evangelical. It's pretty patriarchal, but it's not, and it's pretty mellow. I mean, everyone's just like, well, that's nice. Get some coffee and have and it's Wisconsin Armenians too. So it's and now I live in Los Angeles where there are so many Armenians. It's the most Armenians in the whole world, barring Armenia, which is by Turkey and the old Soviet Union, right? And but there's just literally there's got to be 1 million Armenians. 1.5 million Armenians spread all over. Sometimes I play a game in Los Angeles where I like to go through town and go, oh, there was an Armenian who was at the gas station who worked there. There was an Armenian, of course, at the bank where the teller lady. And, in my car, the AAA guy, that guy's Armenian. And you can count Armenians all day long if you want, because there's a lot.
How do you tell if someone's Armenian?
Look deeply into my
I
eyes
can
and
see
I'll
it.
sell you a rug.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't look particularly Armenian because my mother's Irish and Norwegian, and
okay.
so in LA I get a lot, and plus we're all melted, right? I'm second generation. Like my grandparents came here fleeing the Turks and the Armenian genocide, so we've melted within an inch. We're Americans, so I don't speak Armenian.
Yeah.
I can do church and food, so I can make you some sarma and I can sing along with the choir, but that's what I can do. But there's two kinds of like new Armenians that came to Los Angeles. They're the ones that came from Lebanon in the 70s, and then there's the ones that came from Armenia after the Soviet Union fell in the 80s, but they came in like the 90s. And then there's a bunch of new ones that just came over from Armenia and Russia. So
they've got a lot to learn, those new ones.
The new ones, it's so funny because when I go home, it's very like I'm in Milwaukee and I'll go to church. And when I first moved to Los Angeles, which was 15, 17 years ago, they'd be like, oh, you got to watch out for those Lebanese, the Beiruti Armenians is what they call them. And I was like, why? It's like, oh, they're all thugs. They're all just a bunch of mobsters. And I was like, you mean they're immigrants? They're trying to make their way in the world because they're doing whatever they can because nobody moves here on purpose, right? No, things are not going well in Germany, and so you're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move to another country and learn a language. There's never been I don't want to move across town if things are going well, right? So then, like about 10 years ago, I went to church and someone said, oh, the Beiruti Armenians are okay. You got to watch out for the Hayastani Armenians, which are the Armenian Armenians. And I was like, so you just don't like immigrants, is what you're telling me, Aunt Alice. No. Anyway, so.
Do you have a notebook? Have you written this down, Aunt Alice? I need a go-to.
Exactly. Oh, I want my dad to write a book called The Savvy Senior because he's 78 now, and he just figured out like 2 years ago that he was an old guy. And at first he was bummed out. He was super bummed out about being an old guy. And then in the last 6 months, he's like, how can I turn this into a money-making opportunity?
Salesman.
Exactly. And so he's figured out how to like milk the system for like free rides and free sandwiches. And I was like, Dad, that's for poor people. And he's like, it's free. I'm taking it. And I was like, you're out of your mind.
I will make this work. So the older brother, and then who? How does it go? Who's next in line? How does this work?
Phil lives here, and he's a print salesman.
Okay.
He was in the Moonies, and we kidnapped and deprogrammed him in 1977, and that's what made him move to Minneapolis.
You're kidding me.
Because this was where the halfway house was, because the hippie skippies who saved him from the Moonies had a halfway house, and then he got a job at the halfway house, deprogramming other, like Hare Krishnas and
Deprogramming.
Deprogramming is just reprogramming, essentially. And they'd make everybody back into Christians. You had to pay extra if your kid was a Jew or a Muslim because they had to find a specialist.
Oh,
everybody has
wow.
because most of the deprogrammers were raised Christian and they could at least, fake it. But they were like, how do I make your kid back into a Jew? And we got to hire somebody.
It's like a predecessor to wiping an Apple iPhone. Yeah, and starting over. I like that.
Oh, right. And I don't know why you can't just wipe it. Why can't you? Why do you have to put something back? But that's why he moved here, and then I moved here in '90, and to do stand up from college because everybody I did stand up with in Madison, Wisconsin, moved to Chicago, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go in the opposite direction. As you 6 people, and who I perfectly nice people, but never want to see again.
Perfectly nice people.
I'm sure they're fine. And then I came here and I started doing stand up, and then my sister moved here in like '96, and I moved to Los Angeles in '97 or '8 or whatever, something like that. It's all a blur. And so she moved here, and we lived together for like a year and a half. She had been in Milwaukee and then moved to Florida, and so she's lived here I think since '98. And then my brother Scott just moved here 3 years ago he lived in Chicago for like 20 years, and then his company moved him to Omaha. And he was like, what am I doing? What am I doing in Omaha? And I said, there are 200 nice people in Omaha, cool kids. You got to find them. And he was like, I can't find them. And I got to come somewhere else.
That's the joke. What's Minneapolis without their sports teams? A cold Omaha.
I don't know if except for that it's like there's it's just bigger, right? So
Yeah.
there's at least a there's more than 3 coffee shops.
True.
That you can go. And my brother Scott's a photographer. Everybody does financial stuff, right? Like my brother Phil is a print salesman. My brother Scott works. He's a commodities broker. My sister's a financial planner for RBC Dane Rauscher. And then I do stand-up. Anyway. My brother Russ. I forgot about him. He's an econ professor at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater.
Oh, good lord.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Who generates the most jokes for you?
Oh, my dad still.
Your dad still.
Yeah,
Poor-
my dad still. And then
poor
I'm
guy.
married, and then but I'm recently married because I don't have any social skills because I do stand-up comedy. And so I just, about 10 years ago, I was like, I would like a boyfriend, like a person. I've never been able to, I never dated. And I dated, this is how I would hit on guys. I would stand next to them forever.
Yeah.
Guess what? That doesn't get you a boyfriend. And then you'd buy them sweaters. And I have a lot of guy friends who they're still doing that. They're standing next to girls they like. They're like, no, she's great. Do you think she'll ever notice me? She will not. She will not. And you can buy her sweaters and coffee and drinks, and she will get free drinks and sweaters.
I like sweaters.
Yes. And some of the guys would take the sweaters. Other guys knew what I was doing, and they're like, no, I'm good. No sweater. I don't need the emotional baggage of you buying me a sweater. Yes. Which is why some girls will be like, I don't know, I'm good. I don't need the drink because I don't need the social obligation that goes with you buying me a drink.
Thank you, Bill Cosby.
How's this
no
transition?
drink.
How's this transition to marriage? You still buy him sweaters?
That guy, no, it was online dating. It's the greatest invention in the world. Emotionally draining, exhausting as all hell. Clarity of intent. Drop-down menu option.
Nice.
I'm a woman looking for a man to date. Tappity-tap, tappity-tap. Exchange emails, dash off to a Starbucks, look at each other for the first time, and one of you goes, no. And you do it again, 1,000 times, until you meet someone who doesn't horrify you or you don't horrify your initial appearance. And then you move forward.
I did Tinder for 4 days. It worked out really well.
Swipe, and you're already seeing someone?
No. Swipe, and no one
you're
liked
done?
me. No one liked me.
Oh, well, that's...
So you're done?
I quit. I gave it 4 days. I'm like, you know what? Not one match. Or whatever happens.
Whatever happens.
Done.
What I recommend, the thing is, and I did it before, I think there's free ones. I think OkCupid is free for the first part until you want to pay for it. And I recommend that. So it's not, I wouldn't, it's exhausting. I would take I would do it for a couple of months. I did it for almost 2 years. I dated probably 24 perfectly nice gentlemen. So and they weren't dates; they were just meet and greets. Essentially,
Yeah.
it was
Sweater exchanges.
It was we'd show up at a coffee shop, we'd stare at each other, we'd talk to each other, and then one of us would go no, and that was fine.
Wow.
That's what I expect that to be.
That's a date.
And it was fine, and it was. I mean. At least it was I have enough friends, That's why I did online dating. I was like, is any interest in making out with this? Let's go stare at each other and see if you have any interest in touching this in a physical manner, and do I have any interest in touching that in a physical manner?
Right.
And then we move forward.
In a physical manner.
I don't know what to.
Yeah.
I'm very romantic.
I got married, met my gal online.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Which one did you do? How long you guys been together?
I did the I am blind and have no idea how ugly you are.com.
Oh.
Interesting. What does that mean? The voice? You're like, oh my God, she sounds fascinating. You turn around and you're like, oh, you're 4 feet tall.
No,
and I'm 7 feet tall.
She's gorgeous. I have no reason to be married to her. No, I would.
Me too. I'm like, my husband's much better looking than I needed.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I would have settled for less. This is awesome. You are very handsome. And
Yeah. Isn't that's great, right?
yeah, I was psyched. I wake up every day going, did I break it? Have I broken it? He's like, you have not broken it. You're fine. Keep plugging along.
I'm still here.
But I don't know how to be in a relationship, which makes me laugh because he's my first boyfriend. This is my first relationship. I would just get laid previously, which is very glamorous. And
you feel good after, that's for
you
sure.
feel
yeah.
really,
Yeah.
you feel strong in your sense of self.
Yep.
And you're like, get off. And thank God you didn't kill me. Perfect. But it's funny because the other day I wanted him to do something, but I hadn't used my words, and I didn't know. And I was like, because I have a pretty good sense of, well, there's no way he's going to know. It turns out he is not psychic, like I am not psychic, but he always uses he's like there's these social obligations that I don't even want to do. So I assume he doesn't want to do them either. But it would be nice if he came with me because they're pain in the ass social situations. And when he has that, he just goes, hey, would you come with me to this? And so I never, and I just want him to come with me, but I don't ask him because I know it's a pain in the ass.
Women.
Jeez. See? Yeah.
And so like he didn't offer to come on this thing, and I was like, I actually need you. And he was like, yeah, I'm totally there. Did you need me? I'll go to the weird thing. And I said, I didn't want to be a burden. I actually said that to him, and he just looked at me and laughed in my face. And he goes, that's what marriage is.
Yeah.
We're burdens on each other. Here's an idea. Every time you think you're being a burden, hand me $1. And every time I think I'm being a burden, which is almost immediately after you've handed me $1, I'll give it back to you. And we'll do that as long as it lasts. And,
So you feel like you're paying for your burden.
Well, it's just he's like it's not a burden. It's a thing that we do for each other.
Right.
And if it works, he's like, if I don't want to do it, I'll tell you. But you can at least ask.
So you're saying marriage could be a partnership? I should try that someday.
It's
that
sure,
sounds
look
really
into that.
interesting.
How long have you been married then?
Well, it'll be 9 years.
See?
Wow. See?
And but it's funny because I don't know. It's been a trip because everything I know about being in a relationship I know from stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Like guys talking about their wives for 30 years.
Yeah, that's a trip.
Yeah, so you're like, oh, I know what kind of wife I don't want to be because there's like 3 main jokes that guys tell about their wives. And
what are they?
Yeah.
Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they are not, but they're the same 3 jokes. And they're joke number 1, once you get married, women stop having sex with you, man. It's the way it goes. It's the way it goes. And then some sort of punchline. Joke number 2, once you get married, women spend all your money, man. It's the way it goes. It's the way it goes. And then some sort of punchline. And the third joke is bitches, man. Am I right? Bitches. So that's the whole fucking thing. So I have spent my entire life, like the last 9 years, making sure, is everyone getting enough? You getting enough in the sack? Try to leave his money alone as much as I possibly can. It's very hard, as he has a real job. And then if I have a negative emotion, I just stuff it because that's never going to backfire until it does.
You are the Armenian grandmother of comedy. I love it.
It's a sure.
Gather around, youngins.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you how it could be done, but I wouldn't recommend you start at 40. I recommend you start at like. The thing is you just have to let someone be nice to you, and it took a long time for me to let someone be nice to me, you know? Like, there's a lot of comics who do jokes, and both men and women talk about how, some woman comic the other day was talking about how, women don't want men to be happy. And I was like, please change the setup to, I don't want my boyfriend to be happy.
Yeah.
I'm an asshole, and this is how it manifests itself.
Yeah.
Because she did this thing about it. It was like, women don't want men to be happy, and these are the things me and my friends do to make that happen. And you're like, well, you sound like a horrible person. And then I want there to be a third part of that joke where the punchline lies, where you either talk about how you're trying to fix it, and then some wacky plan, or how you were just planning on being a dick your entire life, and then some wacky plan. And then, I've heard it from there, and I've heard guys say, my wife doesn't want me to be happy, or my wife, somebody was saying that, I just want to watch all the football during football season, which I know is 14 games a week. And so that's just 14 times 3 hours. And so that is just 400 hours of television a week for 4 months. It's not that big of a deal. And why is she such a bitch about it? And you're like, I don't know. Maybe you should have married someone who liked football, you weirdo. Because, it doesn't...
I lucked out. I married a good woman who loves me. That's the first thing.
Yes.
And likes
likes you.
And
probably.
likes me.
Yeah. Yes.
And we consider each other our best friends. But I did do a dickish thing, and I normally don't talk about anything personal, not my family or anything like that. Just, I have kids, and I don't want them to, hey, I heard your dad joking about you on the show.
Right.
So I'm treading into thin waters here because I am going to tell this story. I did a dick thing. I admit it. It was a dick thing.
You were human. Anyway.
But it also will show you maybe our lives aren't that bad because this was was it an argument? I don't know. I was upset. We had friends over. I was playing music. I love music.
Right.
And it was Sunday, and the sun was setting, so I had soothing. I had Willie Nelson singing "Georgia on My Mind" with the Winston Marsalis Trio.
Okay,
a nice mix of music above it. And they were like, "Oh, that's so good." And then I had John Mayer Blues Trio doing some jazzy thing, and then Jennifer's like, "Play Prince. I want to put Prince on." And I'm like, doesn't fit the vibe, babe.
Right.
Purple rain does not work right now.
You're changing. You're harshing my buzz.
And I think I had one too many mojitos or something because it became a big deal to me because she kept trying to put the Prince on. And I'm like, I spent time making a mood here. Don't you see how incredible I am? Play Prince later!
Right. There's the rest of our lives.
I immediately that night I was like, oh, that is such an immature dick move. How old am I?
Well, and maybe she wanted to change the mood to something a little more peppy.
Yes.
So,
you think she's got it bad? Try working with this guy.
Right. Well, what do you? Yeah, I mean, the playlist thing. It's some people love. Like my musical taste is so shitty that that I don't
embrace it. At least you acknowledge you have self-awareness.
Right. Well, and I like all the different kinds of music, but I don't know anything about them. And I usually buy like one album of everybody's. So like I have one White Stripes album, I have one Eminem album, I have one Jay-Z album, I have one Beyonce, and I have a Bread. So and I have
Bread's Greatest Hits, a great album.
Sure. If you're me and you, and then everyone else is like, wow, I don't want to roller skate backwards through life. So let's move on. But I do love Bread, and I don't mind Air Supply occasionally. I don't mind ABBA, and everyone likes Queen. So
yeah, well, but Queen can be quite. They have obscure deep tracks.
Sure, there's deep cuts there.
That you don't want to. I heard a great song the other day. Listen to this one.
Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and the pals with every boy.
Nice, right?
Very nice.
Yes. 28 seconds. Will make us laugh and smile.
Sing it.
Let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for
That's my friend Mike Rickberg, who is from Minneapolis.
Ah.
Yeah.
And this is a podcast.
That's my podcast.
And it's been going for many years.
9 years in September.
We got to sit down and talk to you after
the
this.
same number of years I've been married.
Oh.
But I thought I started it before we got married. Well, whatever. It's because I supposedly started the podcast in 2000. It doesn't make any sense because I think I was doing the podcast a year before I met him. Whatever. Or before we got married.
Whatevs.
The Dork Forest, Dork on Dork Dialogue. This week's episode, Space.
Space.
Yeah, it's a woman who writes for Popular Science was talking to me about the history of rockets.
Space. What's the deal with space?
It can be anything. You can dork out about anything. I had a great one, and it was kind of fortuitous because of the Pluto thing.
Yeah, we got Pluto in the news here today.
And then, but the last time that was so fortuitous, the Dork Forest comes out on iTunes and dorkforest.com. But there was a great episode with Ian Abramson, a great comic. And it's a lot of stand-ups because I do stand-up.
You got a lot of famous people on your podcast.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, like famous stand-ups, yeah. Yeah, I suppose those are famous people, too. I just think of them as...
I mean, you have names on in the history of the show that people are going to recognize.
Yes.
But your space one is someone who dorks out on what about the history of rockets.
She was doing rockets and stuff, and then but it can be super obscure and fun. But the guy Ian Abramson did a great episode about the McDonald's land. He loves McDonald's land from the 70s, and I'm like, but you're 30, and he was like, I love McDonald's land, those French fries guys, and the Hamburglar, and it dropped the same week. It came out the same week that the new Hamburglar was revealed, and I was like, ooh, synchronicity. I wonder if it'll bring my numbers up, and then I forgot to look.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Jared from Subway wanted a Kitty Land in Subway.
Oh.
No, he didn't do anything.
Yeah,
he didn't do anything.
But we don't know that officially.
His guy
yet, do
did.
No, we do.
It's
we
been
do
exonerated.
know. Yeah, he wasn't even accused.
But
His
all we knew
coworker-
is they raided the house.
Some guy that worked for Jared, who gives a shit about Jared, but
Yeah.
I think it's so rude that he loses all credibility for the nerd that he is. He's just a giant galumph of a dude.
Yeah.
But he's not a pedophile. He doesn't have kiddie porn. Some guy who worked for him was being investigated, and so he opened his house. The FBI guys were like, "We're going to look at all your work," and he was like, "Do whatever you want," and so they never accused him. They never even had him as a suspect. They just was looking for more stuff on this guy. And so, but it came out. And so now everybody, like the lead thing, CNN, you're like, you're the worst. You're the worst journalism in the world because he didn't it's not.
Well, and that's what I said. I said, even if he does get exonerated, which I have not seen that story. I'm waiting to hear the follow-up Found
Nobody
nothing.
does any follow-up.
Right.
I wanted to, but there is a story that says found nothing.
Well,
Yeah.
they,
That's
He's seen some
clear.
stuff
no,
on
no,
it.
they found stuff from that guy. They
But
never even looked
the
at
guy
his stuff.
headed up his child foundation, and that guy's in prison. Unless there's another guy.
No, I don't. Well,
There was a guy who headed up the
Everyone-
Jared
everyone-
Child Foundation who was accused and in
look
jail.
up. Yeah, everyone should look up Jared because Jared didn't do anything.
Well-
the worst thing about Jared is that he was boring. I mean, I don't know. But did you read something that said that he was a child molester or accused of it?
No, that he was suspected. He was.
You read a thing where he was suspected
Yes.
that he had child porn. I did not read
and
that at all.
nothing has come out. I haven't heard what they found on his equipment. They were raiding his house for him.
For him.
For him.
That I never read that.
Yeah, and I'm waiting to go, well, what did we find? Because
Yeah,
believe
no.
me, I will run the story that says he's completely innocent.
He didn't. Yeah,
But
to my knowledge.
the sad part is, even if he does get deemed or is deemed completely innocent, his
Well, they've
name is
ruined
now
it.
put him
They've
next
ruined it.
to
Yeah,
that
for
thing.
no reason except for the fact that they were bored. You know,
Well, we don't know. There may have been a reason.
No, from what I've read, and the thing is I am not. It's not like I'm a huge Jared the Subway.
No, it's the principle
fan.
of it.
Yeah, the principle of it is that the guy didn't do. Do you see anything?
There's nothing other than Brad and Angela Jolie
Went to Subway.
Yeah, went to Subway, and that's the big thing. And they're
Right.
bravely went into Subway. So
And
there's
ate
that.
They ate a sandwich made out of yoga mats.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that-
well, we'll look into that because I would love to say he's completely innocent, folks. And I'm waiting for that story. But
Well, people
Yeah.
should tweet at you.
yeah.
Yeah, now it's
just
people
tweet a
coming out of the
link.
woodwork talking about the.
But there's no
creepy
update on
things he
the
said.
there's no update on the Al Gore machine that you're seeing?
no,
All
nothing.
right.
Nothing.
All right.
Hey, we got to go to commercial, don't we?
Let's do a quick break and then we'll do a quick little run around the headlines. You're going to be at Acme tonight through the weekend?
Tonight through the weekend.
Tonight and through the weekend. Welcome home.
Working
All right.
on new stuff. Do it.
Stick around. We'll be right back.
The Twin Cities Hit Show. We'll be right back.
MacMen. Don't let your computer problems drive you mad. We are MacMen, Minnesota's premier tech consultants and problem solvers for Macs, mobile devices, troubleshooting, training, and much more. No more dragging your computer all over town because we come to you. We love making house calls to your home or small business. MacMen. Call 612-345-8005.
Hey everybody, my name is Joan Vorderbruggen, and I want you to tune into my new weekly podcast, Joan of Art, on the Alive and Social Network. Each week on Joan of Art, we will interview some of the most talented artists from across the Twin Cities. I'm talking painters, costume designers, filmmakers, poets. There's going to be something for everybody. You can find the Joan of Art podcast at www.aliveandsocial.com or look on Facebook for Joan of Art Podcast. Tune in weekly to Joan of Art as we investigate and celebrate people who make art.
The Rusty Gatenby Review is the entertaining show about entertainment from movies, music, and more. Award-winning TV guy Rusty Gatenby and his review is the podcast with the biggest cast in entertainment, part of the Alive and Social Network. You can get that Minnesota connection to Hollywood and beyond any time of the day or night simply by clicking on the RustyGatenbyReview.com. That's the RustyGatenbyReview.com, part of the Alive and Social Network.
The one and only Chart House. Your destination, whether dining for two, drinks with friends, or making up for that night with friends. Join us at the Chart House for brunch, dinner, or drinks.
Hi, I'm Josh Rupert, and I'd like to invite you to my restaurant, and I'll buy half your dinner. Go to charthouserestaurant.com to find out more.
Visit charthouserestaurant.com today for your special offer. And then come visit Chart House in person. Your table is waiting.
You're listening to the Twin Cities Hit Show. Say it fast 3 times. We just dare you.
Yeah, that Chart House.
Yeah.
Looks like it's going to be another nice afternoon for the Thursday afternoon show. Colleen Cruz is going to be on the show tomorrow morning.
Yes, she is.
I just got a Facebook message from her. And then, of course, everyone should take the Blue and White taxi down to the Chart House because they're fantastic. Jackie, what do you think about this? I'm going to write a jingle for Blue and White taxi.
Yeah.
If you want a great night, book it with Blue and White.
Oh, rhyming couplets.
Come on.
Well done. Well done.
Come on.
Right, that communications
I give it a
degree
thumbs
comes
up.
in handy. Yeah, that's
he can
nothing wrong with
rhyme.
that.
He can rhyme.
Because
that's 4 years of college.
The
5
white
years.
rhymes with night. You see what I did there?
Oh,
Wait
you know
a minute.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
now
changes
that
it
you
up.
okay.
No.
All right. I see what happened. I see what happened.
Yeah.
Feeling.
When you explain it, it makes more sense to me.
7-Up. I'm feeling 7-Up. So take the Blue and White taxi. Working on the shuttle. I don't think it's ready for this week, but there will be a Blue and White shuttle down to the Chart House shows, and that's fantastic. And sincerely, if you pre-plan, you book ahead with your Blue and White, and you don't even have to have money in your wallet. It all happens magically. When you actually don't have to take paper money out of your wallet, it feels like it's free.
Less Robbie, too. Way less Robbie.
It feels free.
Yeah.
So do that. You can Blue and White your taxi over to Acme tonight and schedule when to be picked up. What time do you typically go on at the
Acme Comedy Company? I'm featuring this week, working on new stuff for Mike Kaplan. Mike Kaplan's on America's Got Talent this season, and last night he just moved on to the next round.
Yeah, so those
Doing
live
stand-up.
shows will be coming up then if he makes it there.
Right, if he makes the live show. I don't know if he made the live shows. It's but he did really well, I guess, last night on America's Got Talent, and so he moved on to whatever the next round is.
Yeah, wow,
and,
cool.
And so he's headlining, and then I'm featuring. So the show starts at 8. MC does, I think, 10-15, and then I do 30, and then Mike does 45 to an hour.
Do you know who your MC is?
Robert. Robert has a last name.
For real?
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
And I think it's contest time, too. So I think
Oh,
he's
yes,
actually
it
doing
is.
12,
Yeah.
and I'm doing 25.
Okay.
So, and then a bunch of noobs, a bunch of new kids are doing some stand-up. They're doing 3-minute sets. I think last night there were 4 contestants. And the greatest thing about stand-up right now is that everyone who starts doing stand-up right now has great stage presence.
Yeah.
It's like everyone born after 1990 has great stage presence.
Why do you think that is?
Because of the age of the cell phone
Yeah,
and cameras
yeah,
and
yeah.
everybody. And, I mean, they still don't have any. I mean, it's a learned skill, so you have to learn how to write jokes and stuff like that. But everybody sounds great once they get up.
What do you remember the guy who won last night, Marty Quist? And
did Marty win?
Yeah.
Okay.
And well, at least a quick blurb on his Facebook page, and there's a picture of him wearing this really tight tank top they gave him as the gift.
Oh right, he got the a
Your
train
dad
wreck.
would be jealous.
Yeah.
He got it. Yes,
Yeah.
he would.
And Marty's lost a lot of weight since I met him, so he looks much better, but it's still not pretty.
But it's a girl's. It's a women's
Really.
train wreck movie T-shirt.
Yeah, it's horrible. But he's a good example because I've done a lot of open mics with Marty, and to be honest, that kid has come a long way. When you talk about someone who's naturally good on stage, it's not Marty Quist. So
Right. Oh, really?
He's really
So
come a
that's
long way.
learned skill right
yeah,
there
he's
on
been
his
doing
part.
great.
Is he the blonde kid?
Tall,
one?
kind of brownish hair.
Is he quiet?
Yeah, real quiet.
Okay, Marty Quist. I didn't because the other 3 were louder, and I was sitting in the green room, which is right behind the stage, so I could hear their jokes. Marty, I couldn't hear his jokes, but I could tell that he was. I liked the vibe coming for it. I thought he was great.
Yep.
Without hearing any of his material,
Yeah.
or it didn't feel forced. It felt like he had done. It sounded like writing, which is a weird thing to say, but I've done stand up for so long, I can kind of hear what sounds like writing and what sounds like you're just mugging and milking the goodwill of the audience,
Yeah.
which we've all done. We've all been there. Nothing wrong with it.
Milking the goodwill of the audience.
and-
Sucking at the teat of the goodwill of the audience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why not?
Ew. Mm-hmm. You've done Conan O'Brien's show.
I've done it twice in the last 2 years, and it's been an exciting time because it took me a long time to ever get any sort of late night set, and that's the club that's the first place, and the super supportive of stand up. I think they have stand up on like 2 or 3 times a month.
I actually enjoy when it's not this angsty band that I have no idea who it is that you're ending the show with. It's
usually a stand-up,
yeah.
Do it 5 or 6 minutes, and he encourages such weird, like he's like, do whatever you want, and you're like, really? And I mean, because in late night TV they vet your set, they vet your jokes, and but he likes it to be whatever weird thing you're like. Tig Notaro, remember that like 5 or 6 years ago where she pushed the stool around for 5 minutes, and you're like, She's still pushing that stool. Yes, she is. And then like Rory Scovel and John Doerr doing stand-up at the same time. I don't know if you saw that episode. Or I think Rory was doing stand-up and John was in the audience heckling him because they're pretty good friends, I think. And then Rory's like, this is hard. And then they switched. And so John did stand-up and Rory heckled him in the audience. I mean, I just did stand-up.
Yeah, yeah. Clever.
But it was, I mean, I like that people get out there, watch some Conan. Because it's super what he's doing for stand-up and just all of his, you know, he does the same panel kind of stuff and he's goofy and fun. But what he does, like sort of the man on the street stuff he does and the stand-up stuff he does is fascinating.
He still kind of has the vibe of Letterman back when Letterman was late night.
Yeah, what I like about Conan, he's just like, it's not like, he's like, we're deep cable. And you're like, there's no deep cable anymore. This is a real show, TBS.
Well, he's number one in the demographic. The overall audience is going to the Jimmys. But, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because Jimmy Kimmel, I never get to watch that. But I hear that people love it because he's a goof. He's a goof as well, and people love Jimmy Kimmel a lot.
He does amazing spoofs that go viral or pranks or whatever that go viral.
Yeah.
Our own Lindsey Vonn was on Conan last night.
Oh, really?
Very cool.
Talking about her relationship with Tiger
She did not talk about her. She no longer has a relationship with Tiger Woods.
Oh.
Sounds like a lot of sponsors no longer have a relationship with Tiger Woods either.
We have 9 minutes. Should we do some quick news and go around the world for a second?
Sure, what's happening around the world?
Some news around the world. I was just seeing on the CNN...
What's that stand for?
Cable News Network.
Thank you.
Ted Turner's Cable News Network.
I had to think about that.
The Iran thing went down late last night. Here's a bit from that.
The president said this morning that his country will no longer be called a threat to the world. Iranians may be happy with this agreement, but other countries in the region say they're not so sure. Israel's calling the deal a disaster.
Oh, Israel.
A stunning,
That's right.
historic mistake. Iran continues to seek our destruction. We will.
There is that.
Right, and Israel continues to seek their destruction.
Right.
So, guess what? You guys fight it out amongst yourselves, and we'll try not to invade any more countries.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of not invading any more countries. It's not that I don't like doing stand-up comedy in the Middle East. It's
Yeah, you've actually been over there.
Yeah, I went a couple of times. We were supposed to go to Afghanistan the one time, and they killed bin Laden the week before.
Oh,
Yeah.
Didn't they know you had a gig?
Couldn't
they have waited?
Well, the weird thing is that they were like, you're not going to go to Afghanistan. And I was like, fair enough. And they said, well, you're going to go. We don't know where you're going yet. And I said, well, what if I don't want to go anywhere now? What if I'm scared? And they're like, no, you're still going. And I was like, did I enlist at some point? And so we went to Africa and Oman and Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. And it was... No, not fun. The shows were great just because there's nobody more bored than a bunch of troops.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of kids, 19-year-olds just stacked like puppies.
Yeah.
And they are just
puppies.
like
Give us something,
bored.
something.
You don't even have to be funny. You just have to be someone
Just push
else.
a stool around for 5 minutes. We will laugh.
They're like, any story that is not about this guy's wife is going to be amazing. I've been standing next to him for 14 months.
What are the accommodations like for you when you do this?
They're dormy. They're kind of like...
Because you're living in the barracks.
Yeah, you're with it. But I remember in Iraq when we were doing forward operating bases, they'd give me the VIP tent, and the VIP tent meant that there was a milk crate that was turned over, and as a side table.
Yeah, nice.
And so I had my own twin bed, and it was they were in those tents, those fancy air conditioned tents because it's 125 degrees out at Fahrenheit, and But in Oman, we stayed in tents, but the tents had Wi-Fi. The dorm did not have Wi-Fi in Kuwait. And one of the other comics was like, "Why is there no Wi-Fi?" And I said, "Because there's no Wi-Fi. I don't know. We're in Kuwait. Calm down. You can call your mother later via Skype."
Ever in fear of danger? Any fear for your life? Injury?
Just
Death?
uncomfortable, yes, but not. I mean, the thing is they protect the people, like the talent.
Yes.
The first comic or musician who dies, nobody else is going. So you are surrounded by a pile of Halliburton.
Yeah.
Just Halliburton all around you, just bristling with bayonets, going nope. And so
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
yeah, that was that in Iraq we were driving through Iraq and it was scary. But I don't think I was in any danger at any time, except for not any more danger than when I was in the ghetto of Salt Lake City, which I was telling I was telling Chuck earlier that I went to a restaurant in Salt Lake City, and 2 different comics were like, that's the ghetto, and I said, I don't think you know what that word means.
Yeah,
surrounded by thriving businesses, and that's not what a ghetto is, I'm afraid.
Well, in Salt Lake City, I suppose
they
drink Coca-Cola and dance over there.
They're constantly drinking coffee.
Well, I took
Jackie
to the Bee Colony or whatever that place is. The Honey
Colony.
Yeah, the Colony. And I go, this is the most dangerous gas station in the metro. And she goes,
yeah, it seems fine. What you're saying is that the paint job is a little dodgy. And
speaking of wars and danger, I'm calling this story Nazi Grandpa. Did you hear about this?
Grandpa.
Did you hear about this guy?
Not yet.
He's 94 years old. Listen to this.
Oscar Grunig turned 94 during his trial. His is a test case of new German legal standards for what constitutes Holocaust guilt. In the war, he was a soldier in the Waffen-SS, the most zealous and murderous of the Nazi units, and assigned to Auschwitz.
Grandpa.
His job was to confiscate the valuables from the victims about to be murdered in the camp's gas chambers, which is why he is now known as the Auschwitz accountant. When he finally faced justice, he admitted his role and, in a way, apologized. He even apologized for not having apologized earlier. No one should have taken part in Auschwitz, he told the court. The court did not forgive Oscar Gruning. He can appeal the 4-year sentence and was not immediately imprisoned. Depending on the length of the appeal process, there's some question he will actually serve time.
He's 90.
They're cynics.
You keep the music is loud today.
Yeah. I surprised myself.
Yeah.
For Hitler and
Germany. Mel Brooks.
Yeah. So, 94 years old, they sentenced him to 4 years.
Well, there's only like 12 people still alive to continue to get mad at. And I don't know,
it seems like a lot of waste of time, effort, and money he's 94. You should have done this 30 years ago if you're going to do this.
How did they just find him? Has he been hiding?
I guess there's a new law that says you can open up and the technicality is allowing him to be retried or
Oh, because he's already been tried, but he got off because he was just an accountant?
No, they isn't this the guy they found? I'm trying to think.
No, they didn't find this guy. I don't believe. I think he was living with Jared, and they were online.
But no, I mean, was he wasn't the guy who was removing gold teeth.
No.
He was the guy who was counting gold teeth.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Yeah, there was some guy they tracked down in South America.
Yeah.
Who was removing the gold teeth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, it's very Indiana Jones. I mean, that guy, if you want to do war crimes, you can do war crimes forever. But, there's new wars. They could find younger guys that have done horrible things in Sierra Leone or George Bush. Anything. I don't care. It's,
George Bush, no kidding.
It's. I've decided that I'd rather vote for Bill Cosby than Scott Walker for president.
Oh, good call. Yeah,
because Bill Cosby only rapes one person at a time.
Oh,
boom, ladies and gentlemen, political comedy.
There's your Bill Cosby joke
for president.
Did you read that this actor from the Bill Cosby Show is now saying, "Of course he's guilty."
Oh,
and he previously had not. Which actor?
Let's see. Joseph C. Phillips.
Okay.
The headline is, "Of course Bill Cosby is guilty." He blogs. He played like the Studley boyfriend.
Oh, one of the Studley boyfriend guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And evidently in his blog, he says, I recall that he spoke to an actress and he said, "Do you mind if I ask you something?" She looked at me and asked, "Is it going to make me cry?" And I was a bit taken aback. "Well," I stammered, "I hope it doesn't make you cry." She smiled. "Go ahead, ask your question. Back in the day, I remember that you knew Bill and he was your mentor or something. Did he ever?" Before I finished the sentence, she began to cry.
Ooh.
So this is during the
right. Well,
heyday of
did
the
anyone
Cosby
ask
Show.
this guy? Because the thing is now they're asking everyone.
Yeah.
It's like whenever anyone says anything about women in comedy, I get an email going, "What do you think of this? What do you think of this asshole comment?" And I was like, it didn't affect me until you just pointed it out. I still don't care, and so I'm going to keep doing stand-up. But Yeah, that's weird that he would volunteer because it was his blog, right?
Yeah, it was his blog.
And nobody is like, no, I worked on it'd be like, because I was on Murphy Brown one time in 1998. It'd be like if I started talking about Candace Bergen. I don't know what you I played an airport cop on Murphy Brown in 1998. I had 2 days on set. And I think I know what Candace Bergen's inner workings are.
What she's really about.
She's real sad about her cousin died in the 90s. And I don't know, we had a long talk about it. We didn't, actually. We talked briefly about musical theater.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You get a chance to talk to her. I talked to her at one point,
Yeah,
too.
you get to meet the famous,
I get
right?
to go out there and meet the famous now and then, yeah. For a longest
neat.
stretch, at one point I said... she was sitting next to William Shatner because it was a Boston Legal, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I said to her, well, your dad worked with a dummy.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
Did you? How did William Shatner take it? They were like,
And
I see what you did.
He chuckled. He said, and look how successful he was.
Exactly.
Was William Shatner's
Remember,
comeback.
Edgar Bergen was the only ventriloquist who worked on the radio.
Yeah.
The
Isn't
weirdest.
that something?
Yeah. Oh.
Who wants a ventriloquist? Is like, I didn't see his mouth move at all. Yeah, it's because you're listening on the radio. And
that was good writing, was what that was.
Yep.
Well, we've killed an hour. I know you kids got stuff to do.
Yeah.
I got stuff to do.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We got to go into
JackieKashian.com, FamilyPetAncestry.com.
We got a little glimpse into Jackie's life today.
It's so beautiful, this song.
Went through some photo albums, looked at the family.
Just flipping pages, you guys. Look at
Wow.
me in a pillowcase
Wow.
and some tights. As a baby.
Look at this photo of your dad. Hello. Is he gay?
He puts out. We know that.
Yeah.
For years and years and years, with or without.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Go to Dork Forest and you can catch. God, you got a lot of shows on there. Well, you got about 9 or 10 years worth.
Yeah, it's. I think I'm 500, a little over 500 or 600.
Nice.
Even more than us.
Sure.
And then catch her this tonight through the weekend at Acme. And then tomorrow, Chuck, you and I will be joined by Colleen Cruz. Speaking of funny ladies.
Indeed.
All right. Let's get out of here. All right? See you
Let's
guys
do
tomorrow.
this.